course, I should care about you, especially if a relationship has been set up, the correct data transfer protocols, etc., have been established. Please also note that another human does not have to be genetically related to me to become part of my extended sensory apparatus and extended processing equipment. In fact, a stranger could be better, as it would increase the perspective of my sensory cognitive input. Unfortunately, I will never see the world through the eyes of an aardvark. It will never benefit my model synthesizing process like a human could, and so is less important to me. Although I wonder if we could work out how, if they do, dolphins or whales speak, and could speak to them, whether they would be elevated to human or near human status. Maybe the picture I have drawn of how humans use other humans is too rosy. I think it is, because as well as using each other as tools for extending consciousness, we are also competing with them for mates, resources, etc., and this inevitably introduces tensions like so. Let's say strategy A: I use you by having a relationship in which we share our sensory data of the world and share processing power to extend my unitary and your unitary models of reality. This enriches the models and confers survival advantage on each of us, as we understand the world better and can thus manipulate it more successfully. Strategy B: sleep with your wife, steal with your possessions. Obviously, this gives me your resources and helps pass on my genes. However, it also prevents strategy A. It seems likely that both strategies are always in tension in the human condition. Strategy A: highly useful but risky, especially in the short term. Strategy B: immediately rewarding but disadvantageous in the long term, as it will inevitably impoverish a person's unitary models and isolate them from the relationships necessary to improve such a model. I suppose which strategy a person uses is tied up with how they perceive the long and short term situation. Whether they perceive they can use strategy B without affecting strategy A, etc. I suppose these strategies are somehow influenced by genes that are themselves competing with each other in the human gene pool. God is an artifact. A creator-God model automatically imposes a unity to the universe. Not only that, it puts us in the centre of it. A creator, personal God that desires a relationship with us. The idea fulfills our ultimate desire for a complete unitary model, a model that explains everything and ties everything together. How could it not be invented? It is simply too appealing. How about other religious ideas? The Christian concept of communion. Isn't this an ideological construction reflecting our inner desire to see the world through the eyes of others, to share their intellect, to develop a collective consciousness? Is not the Christian concept of sin largely an appeal to choose strategy A over strategy B? It seems to me that God is a cheat which plugs the holes in the models and answers questions and apparently creates the relationships which evolution has made part of our survival strategy. I can see a problem with the above argument. Not everyone believes in a monotheistic unitary God. Gods, however, are ubiquitous. Even the simplest gods unify some phenomena, rain gods, hunting gods, fertility gods, etc. Also, as religions have developed, there has been a tendency towards monotheistic unitary gods. Isn't it likely that the God models are evolving to fill the God-shaped hole in our evolved psychology? A God-shaped hole in no way implies that it is designed for God to fit into. Rather, the God artifact happens to fit in the hole. Consider the following analogy. RUBP carboxylase is an enzyme that fixes carbon dioxide in plants. It has an active site that carbon dioxide fits into. The enzyme is essential for photosynthesis and hence plant survival strategy. However, unfortunately, oxygen fits into the enzyme as the enzyme evolved before oxygen was common in the atmosphere. This subverts the process of photosynthesis and substitutes it with wasteful process of photorespiration. RUBP carboxylase is competitively inhibited by oxygen. The plant, however, is stuck with RUBP carboxylase. The advantages of having it, being able to photosynthesize, far outweigh the disadvantages, photorespiration. Although oxygen fits into the RUBP carboxylase active site, this was not designed. It is just an unfortunate accident of evolution. I would say the same is true for the God model. The ability of people to create models, our instinctive preference for unifying models, and our ability to share sensory data and processing power with other people is an essential part of our evolved survival strategy. The God model competitively inhibits this process, but the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages. God is just an accident of human evolution. Thank you for listening to me, if you've managed to listen this far. On my channel I've got some videos where I'm beginning to try and put some ideas to do with mimetic evolution together. Thank you very much.